things I've heard from marketers that shouldn't be heard. This is from agency side.
Oh, God.
We could be talking for hours about this because I just think we're on a bit of a run at the moment of having really positive conversations from our side of things, i.e. new potential clients and with our current clients. But we're on a bit of a run where we're hearing some fundamentally fucking awful things from other agencies and the way that they're performing. And
so as in we're hearing that like from clients,
from brands who are working with either carbon copy agencies of us and they're looking to change, or they're working with us currently, or they're thinking about working with us and they work with other agencies doing different things to us, and they're just picking out examples. We're hearing just some really shit stuff. So I'll give you a few examples of the most recent things.
I'm ready.
That I've heard. And this is... I've been at Flaunt 3.5, 4 years. This is an ever-present hearing shit stuff. So what I was about to say is, I wonder if it's because the environment at the moment and the economy and all that shite is people are panic stations, agencies are panic stations, and therefore they're trying to grab hold of or keep hold of as much work as possible and doing shitty things. But as of saying here...
Yeah, the stories aren't new.
They're not new. And also... everyone can see through it. So three sort of examples here that I'm just reading out because I documented them this week. So first one, our last agency is adamant that they own the content that they produce for us. Bullshit. Absolute nonsense. You are operating on behalf of... obviously, there's the whole... you're an extension of the brand's in-house team, clients' in-house teams, all that sort of stuff. But fundamentally, you're operating... like as their brand, but that doesn't mean that you own the content that you are producing for them.
It's really tricky as that, because I can see it from the point of view of, say, so I think I see it more on a freelance basis,
right?
Where like you might have spent ages putting together some artwork on the hopes that leads to something more long term, and then they're like, well, I'll just take the artwork, I'll just do it myself. And
We've talked about that in the interview process. Was it Brewdog? We've talked about, the historical stuff at Brewdog that you brought in to interview, do a presentation and then basically nab the stuff.
Take the idea.
Piss off, bye, you're not having a job.
But I don't think it's right.
No.
But especially at like agency level where like you don't need to be as precious about and like you said, you are doing it on behalf of brands. But I wonder what these contracts say. Do they say that in the contract?
Well, this is it. So I had a few. I put this out on LinkedIn this week, and it got some interesting people back because I rounded the thing off by saying it's still a mess out there. Do better, agencies. So I specifically went to agencies, and fair play. A couple of people in the comments, absolutely right, went, but hang on. Surely senior leadership or leaders, decision makers, whatever you want to call them, at the brand side shouldn't be entertaining conversations and contractual obligations like that.
Yeah, shouldn't be signing it.
Absolutely not. Like, it is also, like, it's shitty it's shit from agencies. Absolutely no doubt about it, and it's wrong. But there's someone signing in, you think. Obviously,
you'd really hope
exactly.
There is somebody that's reading
there
that.
could be something fishy going on behind the scenes here, but if it's contractual, it's sort of on everyone who is the signatory on that contract to check the contract. And obviously, anyone in their right mind, brand, client side, that is a senior leader that is hopefully signing that contract would be like, no.
That's not absolutely right. I need to change
exactly, yeah. So that was the first one. There's obviously a recurring theme here, but they're slightly different examples, but all feeding into the same theme. So second thing that we'd heard, our website was built on our agency's proprietary platform, so we're locked in with them. Literally heard that. Now, I get the sort of USP of, like, from an agency side saying, built our own proprietary e-com platform, for example. Bring your e-com shop, we'll build it through our proprietary platform. But the minute I would now, as sort of brand side, hear proprietary, I'd actually go immediately into sort of red flag mode.
Yeah, I think I would too.
Because what are the implications of proprietary? Like, if you're handing over the sort of keys to let's build a brand new project from a brand side. Yeah, and you hand it over to an agency and they've only got a proprietary e-com platform. That might be great from a marketing perspective for the agency because they can basically say, got our own platform, untouched, you know, it's not WordPress.
But you are
it's
stuck,
not,
aren't you?
That's it. Like, how locked in are you then that, let's be honest, no agency-client relationship is eternal. Like, it'd be, I wouldn't even say it'd be great if it is, because it doesn't happen. So to hear that, and that's not the first time we've heard that, and that's a recent thing that we've heard, is just really concerning. It's really concerning because my cynical hat says that the agency has seen it as an opportunity to lock clients in as to why they've maybe launched that.
Have we worked with anybody where we have taken on a project that had been built on a proprietary platform and then moved it?
I think it was a case of, so yes and no. Yes, we've had those conversations. We've brought a dev client in previously. We had to rebuild from scratch.
I was going to say, is that
put in the bin?
Presumably that would be a start over thing.
Exactly. Like, obviously you could try and unpick it and migrate it across to, I don't know, I'm using Magento or Shopify for an example. Definitely come across that. It's definitely been said to me very recently as well. And thirdly, when we did come across that and onboard that client, it was that's great that you have all that, but you were basically putting it in the bin.
So you can't even migrate it, can you?
You could, you could give it a go, but it's like diminishing returns. Like how far can you go to migrate across before costs is just escalating? And so my cynical hat, and challenge me on this, like, I do get there's another more positive way of looking at this, but my cynical hat is agencies can sort of also see the benefit of building a proprietary e-com platform, for example, for the benefit to them of locking a client in. That's just my cynical way of looking at it.
But do you not think this spreads out across quite a lot of other things? So it's tricky on this because we do have our own tools.
We do.
That we have developed.
Yeah.
But we haven't developed them as a way to
No.
keep data and discourage clients from moving on. We've made them because we saw a problem.
Exactly.
And we've built something to get more than what we could with other tools.
It's an enhancement.
But there are a lot of agencies out there that have done similar and built tools that are no different to what is already on the market.
Yeah.
But then all your data and all your analytics and everything is locked up in that tool, and you feel like you're stuck in that.
Totally. And they're probably the most clear examples in my mind where my cynical hat just comes on. It's like, they've done that.
Why? Tell me what's different between that and something that I can buy off the shelf.
Apart from
that I can have full access to.
Yeah, anything open source as well is a big sort of, what's the word, challenge to that is absolutely legitimate. I mean, look at WordPress. It's humongous as a platform. Lots of developer knowledge and community out there, for example. Like, you just because of what's off the shelf and available to sort of everyone, the minute I hear like proprietary, or hear that we're having a conversation with a potential new client, a brand, and they say, oh yeah, it's built on proprietary platform, it's just, it's interesting. And I know we've got a couple of clients that have built their own. That's different.
Yeah, that is different, yeah.
That's brand driven.
You've done that in-house, you still own that is still...
Yeah. I just think it's a little bit of a sneaky, because it'll be marketed in a way that it's like, we've built our own platform. It's
makes
different.
It amazing,
Like the USPs of that outbound sort of marketing message wise, I get it, I can see it, but behind it, I can't help but not question what we've already talked about, the sort of sneaky nature of it.
But do you know what a lot of that all comes back to? If you are a trustworthy agency that is led with the right values and follows through on that, everything you do, you're doing for the right reasons. Yeah. So if it's an agency that doesn't really have that level of trust or that level of genuine values that they put forward and that they operate with, yes, question it. Definitely.
Yeah. I would argue like the proprietary stuff that we offer our clients is results enhancing. It's not it's not dependent.
But that's what I mean. That's what we're based on.
Yeah.
We'd never do anything. We'd never go, let's build a tool or build a proprietary product or platform that means people can't ever leave us. But we'd be saying, let's build this because we know how much more we can get out of it. We know how much more we can get for our clients out of it.
Yeah.
Compared to off the shelf. And that's the difference. If you genuinely trust an agency and genuinely trust the people you're working with, then yes, I would believe in the product.
Yeah. The hardest thing, I think, is brands, decision makers at brands having the wool pulled over their eyes when they don't know that agency and they hear proprietary and they think it's whizzy, and that's the, for example, they've looked into Magento, they've looked into Shopify, they've looked into WooCommerce, and they've found limitations in each, and then perfect agency ABC over here come over to them and say, we've got this proprietary platform,
do everything
exactly,
you need.
it solves all your worries.
It
would absolutely say be incredibly cautious, ask as many questions as you can, and query the length of that contract as well. But that said, if you're building from the ground up on a proprietary platform, my gut feeling is you're absolutely locked in. Or you're more locked in.
You are. And it's a really big decision. I think people don't realise this, particularly with like websites.
Yeah.
What you are signing up to is really important. It's not just like we'll do that for now. It seems all right.
Yeah.
Actually, that should be a really, really thought through.
Yeah. I think as well, the thing that's helping this is the growth that Shopify is seeing currently. I mean, we're using the we're having a dev conversation here, e-com platform, technical conversation when neither of us are technical.
I know.
Well, I mean, this isn't a technical conversation, but Shopify's growth at the moment is amazing, and literally an hour before we've come on recording today, WordPress and WooCom have launched their competitor product to Shopify, which is also telling of Shopify's growth. Back to the sort of proprietary platforms thing, I think the need and the glitz and glamour and the shiny new object thing that you might get with a proprietary platform, I think is diminishing against, as I've just said, growth in Shopify. Like, people are feeling way more confident in a Shopify platform, and to be honest, we're recommending it more and more because the growth in it is because it's actually a bloody good platform now, legitimate. Sort of the gaps that it might have had in the last 5 years have been plugged and improved. So actually, and
also with stuff like that, you've got to look at the bigger picture and think what they're building from.
Yeah.
In terms of the hundreds of thousands of customers they've had through it.
Yeah.
And they've had building through it.
Exactly.
They've got all that feedback as well.
Yeah. There's enough of a challenge, legitimate, decent, recommended platforms like Shopify, like WordPress, WooCom, that absolutely sort of spit in the face, I think, of proprietary. But I would just say cautious. Absolute caution for people that are hearing that, because it might sound brilliant through their marketing, but really...
But think of the bigger picture.
100%.
Think about where that leaves you in 5 years' time or whatever else.
And then the final thing, back to what I posted, I mentioned there was 3 things I said. The other one was that we've heard way too many times is we don't own our ads accounts. So, Facebook ads account. Well, it's not called Facebook anymore. What's it called? Meta. That's just like sin 101.
It's
agency
really
sin
bad.
101. And the amount of times, and it's happened really, we've had a real influx in the last 3 months. The amount of times we're having a really good, promising conversation from a paid media conversation with a potential new client. And you're basically green lighted from both sides that we're going to do something together, and you move into like, okay, migrating their accounts over, and the client contact that we've got don't have access to their own,
they can't get in
because the said agency has been really fucking sneaky again, and the way that they've set up their ad account is effectively under their ownership and is restricted. That not only that, we're then hearing when clients are in that situation, if they come to their existing incumbent agencies and say, we're shifting over, can you sort of hand over the keys? They're not playing ball. And I think I read on LinkedIn, and I think I've come across this once, not recently, but I read this on LinkedIn very recently, said incumbent agency who was about to get, let's just say, fired in black and white, deletes all their historical data and campaign data, in that basically deletes their ad account and all historical data, etc., which is not theirs.
God.
It's not theirs to do.
I was going to say, surely that's...
It's back to what we said about data, content, like the agency, our agency is adamant that they own the content. The data is the brand's.
The impact of that is just...
The thing is...
I am actually really... I've not heard that before, but
really?
I'm saying I'm really shocked because I know the huge impact that could have.
Yeah.
And I know what a big loss that is, but I'm not shocked that an agency would do that, because I've heard very similar stories of agencies owning ad accounts, then fudging the reports they send back. Because that's one of the big reasons that a lot of these agencies will not be giving access to the proper accounts dashboard.
Something to hide.
Because that means what they can do is they can send across their report at the end of each month or at the end of each week or whatever else it is, and they can choose what they put in there. And without any access to the true data, you've got to believe what's given to you.
You can't challenge it.
And I've heard that from multiple cases, and I've seen that happen.
Yeah, well, you've probably overheard me saying it quite recently. Not the deleting of the data, but they're just, the client themselves. And understandable that things change, that a client contact might not be the same client contact 6 months down the line. They might have changed. And that's what's happened quite recently in a couple of conversations I've had. And you understand that, but they shouldn't be sort of 6 months into that role and still battling to get admin access, for example, or whatever access they need when they're in senior leadership positions. It
should just be standard practice.
I mean,
it
is for many,
anybody not trying to hide anything,
that.
and operating the right way.
Is it panic stations? I don't really know what it is.
It sounds like a lot of covering up as well.
It's definitely covering up.
You're always, no matter, even if you're like the best agency ever that operates with the most transparency, you're always a little bit nervous with a position change because
it's a threat to stability.
It's a threat to stability, but also you don't know what that person is what their knowledge base is gonna be.
Yeah.
Like even people in senior positions, they don't always have like a really in-depth knowledge of PPC or how that looks and how to analyse that data. But then sometimes you might get somebody that comes in that does, and it's really difficult because often with those changes in positions, the priority changes because it's based on the individual.
Yeah, definitely.
So it can be quite oh my God, what's happening?
Yeah.
So, but you can't think like that.
You can't. And then like when you sort of circle around all of those things that we've just said, and there's so many more examples that we could share that aren't those three that we've talked around, and I know we went off on a tangent with one of them as well, but like 3 solid examples that we've literally heard in the last couple of months, and then you extrapolate that back and think however long agencies have been in existence and extrapolate it forward, because we'll hear these things again, no doubt. No wonder that trust is so broken and such a big sort of taboo subject, but rightly so. It's a subject that needs addressing and rectifying hugely. But no wonder, because there's still players out there that are fucking it over for legitimate agencies, and we're not the only legitimate one. We keep saying this is how we operate. There's many that operate like us, and rightly so. Transparent, honest, upfront, communicative, like all those things should just be such a given. But there's enough in the minority, and I hope it's a minority, that are still fucking over that reputation for people like us and other agencies that are like us.
But it's something that brands will ever talk about. They'll talk about it to us. They never ever talk about it
publicly,
because it's embarrassing, isn't it?
And that's where education, I think, could take I'm not going to say a seismic shift because we don't know, because they're not doing it, but if it was en masse publicly.
Yeah, if people were sharing these stories and talking about true experiences that have gone on with them being a client, or even if they're from the agency side about something and they've watched happen to a client,
then
people know what they're looking out for, but people don't talk about it.
No,
they don't openly talk about all the bad experiences that have happened because nobody wants to admit that they picked that shit agency that completely screwed them over.
Yeah. The weird thing, and I don't want to complicate matters too much though, is if we saw a brand spouting off quite a lot about a different agency, we'd also have red flags.
Yes, I agree.
So it's not like
You'd be
it's
like,
as simple as
them if they're...
Yeah. It's a difficult one because ultimately it's coming down to choices, I think, that individuals are making, and that is agency leaders, for example, telling their staff to deal with a client, hold back reports, download our own reports and send them over, not giving like full access to ad platforms, for example. All those shitty tactics you can't help but think is coming from the top down in these agencies. They're individuals making those decisions. So ultimately, we're still talking about individuals making, we're going to say it, the wrong decisions, because they are the wrong decisions. And actually then, as we're saying, maybe we need brand side people to start shouting publicly. But then to flip that on its head, if we saw a brand shouting publicly about,
slagging off an agency,
defamation and all that.
Yeah, but maybe we just need to, maybe there's something between good agencies as well where we need to talk more about what you should be expecting.
Yeah, I guess the naming and shaming don't really have to be a thing.
It doesn't need to be. No, and even if, like we say, brands don't talk about it, even brands, well, even them talking anonymously about it, we'd still be slightly.
Everyone's just got to. Everyone steps into new conversations cautiously anyway. Full stop. Good conversations, bad conversations. I have different people on. Spend my days speaking to hopefully new potential clients, and everyone's got their questions and red flags and tiptoeing, to begin with, because the trust is that. And I genuinely think
it takes a really long time to build trust.
Of course it does. Of course it does.
And that's what's often really difficult for somebody like you in your position. It's so hard to, within the space of like 3 conversations that you get, to actually build that level of trust and
absolutely.
prove that
and you've been there
real.
as well.
Yeah.
That's why referrals are so strong, because you're getting someone else to do that grunt work of baseline. You can trust these people. Yeah. So if any of our clients are listening, they want to refer me to any to any contacts. We are open for business.